We welcome you to another live edition of the Sports Box, brought to you by our sponsor, Showcase Sports in Hamilton. Showcase Sports for the elite athlete. And by our friends over at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and check them out at www.crowdplayapp.com for details. Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
Hey everybody, welcome to Cage My IQ. I am your host D-Bake. Tonight I will be recapping one on TNT 3, which had two fights on the card due to COVID and injury reasons. It went from 3 to 2, but we had two great fights on you, and then we had news for next week's one on TNT 4 finale for the USA on TNT showing in the USA. But first, once again, we are Cage My IQ. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. And then you can subscribe to all of our content on YouTube and Twitch. There's our handles to the left. So don't forget to subscribe to YouTube and Twitch to keep up to date on all the MMA coverage, because we are Cage My IQ, which is the best place for MMA content. And once again, my name is Daniel Bakley. So let's get into the action right now. The first fight that we had of the two-fight card was a matchup between Yuya Wakamatsu, who defeated Reese McLaren by unanimous decision. This fight started out pretty well. Both guys were trading shots, but it was obvious starting the second round that Yuya Wakamatsu was going to come out the victor because he applied more pressure in the fight, and then he got Reese McLaren on the ground several times. He had a couple chances to finish the fight. He landed punches to a vulnerable McLaren who was on his knees, and then he took shots to the front of the head while he was trying to get up. But he weathered the storm, but it was too much for him to handle, and Yuya Wakamatsu pulled out this victory by unanimous decision. He wanted to get the knockout, but he was content with winning the fight no matter what. He moves on as the victor and had a great showing in this. He was a Japanese fighter. Reese McLaren was the British fighter, and it was a good show by Wakamatsu, who needed this just for a confidence booster. Moving on to the main event of the card, we had John Lineker, who was the number one contender in the division, defeating Troy Worthen by first round TKO. This fight started out pretty good. John his nickname is Hands of Stone. He called that he was going to win by first round knockout. That's what he wanted to. He had two straight wins coming into one championship after leaving UFC, and they traded shots early. Like, he picked and choose his shots. Every now and then, Lineker would throw a power punch, but he was mixing in some right and left hands with the leg kicks. At one point, he was able to do a sweep kick that made Troy Worthen fall on the ground, but he didn't go after him because he knew that he's vulnerable on the ground to Worthen, so he let Worthen get up. And then 40 seconds left in the first round, he caught Worthen getting lazy with his hands on the ground. He popped him with the right hand, power right hand, that knocked Worthen to the ground. Worthen was still coherent, but John Lineker finished him with a nice follow-up punch to the face, which then the ref called for the thing, and Lineker could have punched him again, but he held off. He knew that he had the win, and he gets the victory by first round TKO, and it looks like he's going to get a title shot next, barring anything crazy. They talked to him afterwards. He said that his inspiration was his daughter, and that he was looking to get a title shot in the future, so he could add a title to his trophy case. That's what he wants. And going into that with a 3-fight win streak, it's hard pressed to think of anybody else that would get the title shot over John Lineker. And I think he could be a good bet in the future to win it with that power right hand. He managed it well in this fight. He didn't tire out. Like he didn't go put all out on one shot. He divvied it up all around, and he did what he said he was going to do. He came in, conquered, and got the first round knockout, and now he's moving on. And then speaking of the news that I spoke about earlier, moving on from the main event to the news, we had got the news for this that right here that Akre Yoon defeated Garuski by unanimous decision on the prelim card, which set a date for next week with the matchup with Eddie Alvarez on TNT 4. Akre Yoon put on a great showing, got the unanimous decision, and is now setting his sights on Eddie Alvarez, which he said that he thinks that he has a good shot to win. This is going to match up to pit one of these guys into the top 5 in a good shot, in a good spot. Eddie Alvarez is coming in with madness in his eyes from the DQ from a one on TNT 1, which it should have been a no contest, considering Yuri Lapkus moved his head in a place where there was nothing Eddie Alvarez could do. It was obviously beating Lapkus and was about to knock him out when he moved his head, which forced the decision from a knockout to a DQ. So he wanted to get right in back into the saddle right away, which is why he's going to be fighting Akre Yoon on TNT 4. My predictions of this is it's going to be a close fight. Akre Yoon has the slight advantage for fighting this week and then being able to continue his momentum. But I think that Eddie Alvarez's mind is it's going to come out with rage. And he's going to do exactly what he did last week. He's going to take down his opponent. He's going to ground pound, and he's going to go for the victory. So my early prediction for this Akre Yoon versus Eddie Alvarez is I got Eddie Alvarez by second round TKO on the ground. I think the first round's going to be could go either way, but then Eddie Alvarez is going to come out guns blazing in the second round, and it's going to pick up the victory. My predictions right now from the first 3 cards for one on TNT have been that they've been a great show in the U.S. And I really hope that they decide to keep showing these cards each week in the future on U.S. soil, and even to the point to where they might start having some one championship cards here, wherever, whether it's New York, Florida, or LA, or even Vegas. Anything that they can do to bring it over here every now and then will be great, because I think the fan base right now is loving the action, and it's bringing something different to the U.S. because not only is it MMA, but it's Muay Thai and it's also kickboxing, which is great. It's something different. It's kind of like its own thing. Like PFL has a tournament style, and it's its own thing on Friday nights, and it's not necessarily competing with the UFC. It's just being its own thing. That's what one championship is. They got 3 different fighting regiments, and then they have people from all different backgrounds fighting in there. And I really like the commentary having Rich Franklin on there, and then even their own version of Bruce Buffer does a great job. And I just like the set and everything that it is. So props right now to the one championship for doing what they're doing. And I hope for big things from them in the future. But once again, I am D-Beak. This is Cage by IQ. Once again, you can follow us on our handles right there on Instagram, Twitter, and then also subscribe to us on the other 2 handles for YouTube and Twitch. Help us out. We're a growing brand right now. We need all the subs and love that we can get. All of our content's on YouTube. That's going to be our main platform for you to catch all of our past content. So go on there, subscribe to it, and watch whatever you missed. And then we're also, once again, we're aligned with the Sports Box right here. You can follow them on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and also YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube page. Whatever kind of sport you're into, we have a podcast for it on the Sports Box. don't hesitate to check it out. Give the Sports Box your questions and comments, and they'll get back to you. But once again, this is Cage by IQ. This was the one on TNT 3 recap, and you guys have a nice night. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you for watching this episode of Cage My IQ on the Sports Box. Please remember to follow us on all of our social media outlets. On Facebook at Sportsbox Show, Twitter at Sportsbox Show, Instagram at The Sportsbox Show. Find us on YouTube and join Outside the Box, our Facebook sports discussion group. The Sports Box is brought to you by our sponsor, Showcase Sports in Hamilton. Showcase Sports for the elite athlete. And also our friends over at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and use promo code THEBOX at sign up for 10 free points. Thank you for joining us.